Hey guys, this is Gina James from Signals Museum. I'm the executive director. Just want to say hi and welcome everybody out to the new museum. It's a hands-on history of technology communication museum. We actually span 200 years of the technology that helps us communicate. This is in our foyer. This is our front entry. Lots of people here that are important in the technology communication business, but to actually have a 3D printed brick wall is amazing. So when visitors come in while they're waiting to get ticketed, they can kind of take a peek around and try to figure out if they know some of these characters. These speakers are from the 1930s up on the top shelf. And then this area of radios is actually called Cathedral because they're all hand built. I mean, these are pieces of art, not just pieces of technology. And this is all the private collection of Dr. Marc Bendickson. He and his wife, Cheryl, began collecting over 40 years ago. What's surprising to most people is that 80% of what we have here in the museum is in working order. We're going to keep this one in the dark because this is kind of a cool surprise. This is a mural from about 1819 Alabama that conveys, you wrote a letter, a man got on a horse and delivered. Then we get into the path to invention, which is the common theme throughout the entire museum. Now, I will tell you, we have amazing AR characters in the museum. You will download our companion app, and as you go through, you can scan these guys. For example, here's Ben Franklin, and Ben will pop up on your screen, and you can actually interact with him. So we're leading chronologically, from Ben Franklin and Sparks into Telegraph. And we have Mr. Samuel Morse. He's one of our AR characters. And guests can actually, so come on up. I want you to try this with me. So we're going to race on a telegraph, okay? You get on that side. I'll get on this one, and let's let Mr. Morse walk us through it.
Step on up and see if you've got what it takes to be a telegraph operator. You're here about the telegraph operator job, huh? Let's see what you're made of. Press it down to match the dot. Ready, set, go.
It's harder than you think.
Hopefully, they can just figure out what you meant. Time is almost up. Hurry. Keep up the good work. Thanks for coming to the Huntsville Telegraph office.
Then, of course, leads us into, guess what? The invention of the telephone. We have a really cool system here where people can pick up and communicate between two phones. I had a group come through the other week, and there were a couple of kids here, and I asked the little guy, I said, pick up this phone and let's make a call. And this is what he did. He had no idea that you did. I mean, they're so accustomed. So he thought you made a call this way. I mean, think of how quickly we've evolved from this to what we have today. I mean, it's crazy. It's basically an information explosion. So this is probably one of our favorite exhibits. Visitors actually get to experience sitting at a switchboard and actually making a call. So you can sit down, and Ma Bell will walk you through making a call to an actual resident. This is a real 1928 authentic map of Huntsville with authentic residents in the area, and you can connect a call. People don't realize what it took to connect one call back then. I don't know if you know this or not. These are not volume controlled. So this is where we get the phrase, stick a sock in it. Because if you wanted to muffle the sound of this horn, you literally had to put something inside to make it less loud. Then we get into audio, recording audio. So we learned how to produce it, but how do we record it? Upper right corner, have you ever seen one of those? Okay, 8 tracks. But we cover all the different audio recording. We got wire, reel to reel. Did you ever have the Fisher-Price plastic record player? You could flip the colored records. But here's an interactive where people can actually experience trying to match the sound. Maybe that's digital. Little difference. Maybe that's a cassette, which leaves reel to reel here. How did I do?
Yeah.
Terrible. Missed them all. It's not just a static museum. It's not things sitting on a shelf that you walk by and you observe. It's hands-on educational learning. One of Mark's favorite things to see is the reaction when people walk in and they're like, my grandfather had that in his living room, and we sat around on Saturday nights. So the nostalgia aspect is such a huge part of this museum. Vacuum tubes. So this is the tube room. And we have the video here that explains how a vacuum tube works. And if you ever wanted to know how a radio really works, we have what's called an exploded radio here. And you can walk through piece by piece. And the video will talk to you about transmission, antenna, tuning, and all the different parts and pieces that make a radio work. Well, where did we evolve into from radio? Guess what? Welcome to the 1950s television showroom, basically. From turning something on, tuning it, and watching it, TV was the game changer in the 1950s, which then led you into modern era computing. And then this leads you into some of the very early computers. Have you ever seen a PDP? This system is actually full, complete of memory, which, get this, the max memory on this is 32. But just think again how quickly we evolved. We started getting into the personal computer. Everybody started getting floppies. And then guess what? That leads us into more modern day and the 1980s living room. Now you got the wood paneling, you got the gaming systems. Of course, you and I remember Atari 2600, NES. Those are going to be out forever for, visitors to experience. And we're going to have a couple hooked up so the guys can actually sit on the beanbag and interact with some of the old gaming systems. So this is where we pause and we say, look at the journey we have just taken. From a man on a horse delivering a letter, 200 years to now, your calendar is handheld, your phone, your encyclopedia, everything you need that replaces so many gadgets in your life. It's all handheld. And it only took 200 years to go through that journey. What's coming next? What does the future hold? We want people to think and explore, okay, we've come this far in 200 years. Where will we be in the next 5? Where will we be in the next 10? The truth is we don't know. We assume AI, AR will play a role, but we really don't know what's next. And then we have visitors just come out on the open floor and they can look at some of these radios by decades, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. We have a replica AM station. So we want to give kids and visitors an idea of what a studio was like back then. We can actually broadcast within a few feet of the building here. So you can go in and play something and it will be here broadcast. We have our own ham shack. Huntsville Amateur Radio Club, HARC, meets here every Friday night, and this is their ham shack. And then main floor, and we head back to where we began. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I want to welcome everyone out, and I hope the community of Huntsville and visitors will come out and check out this amazing, unique opportunity to travel through history about 200 years of technology and how it has affected our communications.